so happy to be here. I've never been out the house. It's been a long time, y'all.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the best and worst of the RuPaul's Drag Race and All-Stars Comedy Roast Challenges.
I don't even know how you crawl out of that.
Our choices are based on the jokes, the delivery, the most embarrassing misses, and the most satisfying hits. Number 20, Jada Essence Hall, Fail. The All-Winners edition of All-Stars saw some stiff competition. Jada Essence Hall is not necessarily a natural comedian, but her set started strong and the writing wasn't bad at all.
The only difference is Trinity has a fake-ass bitch, and Monet is just a fake-ass bitch.
Then, as she began stumbling over her words, she lost her rhythm.
The only thing sharper than Jinx's wits are her pearly whites. And yellows, and beiges, and grays.
It became clear she was struggling. Although it was funny to watch her acknowledge she wasn't doing well, it was a shame to watch some pretty decent jokes go to waste under some shoddy delivery. Still, it taught us one thing. If you must fall on your face, do it as gracefully as possible.
Now that was not the way that joke was supposed to go.
Number 19, DeJa Skye, Fail. She may have been the sole survivor of season 14's Snatch Game, but DeJa Skye went down in flames at the Ross Matthews roast.
Now I will say, Daya looks like what a 5-year-old would draw if you asked them to draw Bigfoot.
Instead of laughs, most of her cutting humor got guffaws and scandalized oh my gods. She couldn't help but undercut her best jokes with unnecessary comments.
What's the difference between my padding and Bosco's big ego?
Oh my God.
My padding can clear a doorway.
Oh my God.
Just kidding, not really.
It was clear from the reactions that the bulk of her insults towards Michelle Visage and Ross Matthews weren't going over well with anyone either. She saved face with her last joke, but when your best quip is literally your exit line, you know you didn't do well.
Now, this queen needs no introduction.
Number 18, Olivia Lux, Fail. Even though she landed one of the night's best jokes, Olivia Lux couldn't overcome a weak set and a cloying onstage persona while roasting previous Miss Congeniality winners.
I didn't come here just to be Miss Congeniality. You see where that gets you?
Olivia's smiley-faced, wide-eyed persona grew tired pretty fast. Indeed, her stumbling and breathy airhead routine didn't do too much to lift some subpar material either.
Mama Ru is so old, her first drag name was in hieroglyphics.
It could be that Olivia's just too nice for a roast. Yet some of her jabs would suggest she has the potential to get down and dirty with the best of them.
Mama Ru is so old, she signed the Declaration of Independence as parent/guardian.
Indeed, the shade was present. What was missing was the proper stage presence and an ability to truly land the jokes. Number 17, Naomi Smalls, Fail. RuPaul's old friend Lady Bunny has been one of the show's favorite punching bags over the years.
We are here to honor someone who had no problem offending literally everybody.
So the All-Stars forecast was going to need more than simple old age jokes to make us laugh. Naomi Smalls, however, seemingly did not get the message. Her jokes were sweaty, to say the least.
Could you imagine being born in a time with no Nintendo 64?
She clearly wasn't comfortable doing stand-up, and her nervous laughter just highlighted the lack of positive crowd response after each punchline. Sadly, the funniest thing about Naomi's roast was Monet Exchange's commentary, and that was because it pointed out the obvious.
She says a joke and it's like, it's like, that makes it even worse.
Number 16, Valentina, Fail. Valentina has unleashed some great reads in the past, but she crashed and burned trying to roast legendary drag queen Lady Bunny.
Rest in peace, Lady Bunny. Oh.
Ru, this is the funeral, goddammit. What part of mourning don't you understand?
It didn't help either that she took 30 seconds to set up her first punchline, only to offer an underwhelming visual gag.
Oh gosh, I was running late and didn't have time to finish my goddamn eyes.
That was the joke?
Okay.
Though Valentina's attempt at mocking her mask scandal was admirable, it was far too drawn out and simple. Her bizarrely sexual jokes focused too much on pushing the envelope rather than saying something witty. Given that the commentary about Valentina's stand-up was more entertaining than her actual material, this roast was painful to watch.
Lady Bunny is such a her sphincter ripped, and she's been using her dentureless gums ever since.
Number 15, Trinity the Tuck, fail. For Michelle Visage's roast, Trinity the Tuck spiced up her comedy with a colorful ranch girl persona. Despite some snappy farm humor, however, many of her jokes were just far too lengthy.
Michelle, every time I walk the runway, you have this pungent look on your face, kind of like you got a I reckon they have some laxatives for that.
Trinity's continuous stream of childish bathroom gags lacked depth too, which resulted in plenty of silent audience responses. And though they brought a side-splitting Caitlyn Jenner to the All-Stars Snatch Game, the constant joke explanations at the roast of Lady Bunny hurt the set.
Bunny does have that special kind of face. Doctors use a picture of her to solve Viagra users with erections lasting longer than 4 hours.
Trinity's stiff execution was dreadful enough that she actually roasted herself in response as well. With this kind of poor writing, Trinity's roasts felt much longer than the short airtime they were given. However, Trinity more than redeemed herself in the All-Stars 7 roast.
Is this the same Trinity from Snatch Game?
Wish they would have solved that joke, bitch. Woo!
Trinity should have just brought Caitlyn Jenner back to do this roast.
Number 14, Roxy Andrews, fail. Alaska left everyone with a hard act to follow at RuPaul's roast, but Roxy Andrews still managed to read her as a discount Sharon Needles.
Thank you, Alaska. A tired, boring, weird, second-rate version of your husband.
Sadly, Roxy's nerves ruined the rest of her routine as she stumbled awkwardly through otherwise decent material. Even a quick jab at Ru's age sounded mean thanks to her dry inflection.
You know, RuPaul, you'd love it for all of us to call you our mom. How the f can I call you my mom if you're as old as my grandpa?
Roxy stopped so many times to insult Michelle that she deflated the impact of her wordplay too. Thankfully, she was cut off quickly though, as the editors were really emphasizing her mistakes through the audience. But Roxy's clunky performance was all the more agonizing since most of her good jokes couldn't survive her delivery.
Michelle Visage, with that much makeup, all of your wigs, and light on your face, maybe we should call you Michelle Mirage.
Number 13, Alyssa Edwards, fail. Despite her usually hilarious antics in the workroom, Alyssa Edwards' sharp sense of humor fell flat at the roast of RuPaul.
I thought I had auditioned for RuPaul's next Drag Queen of the Year. Little did I know I was walking into the largest cross-dressing convention of all time.
Though she threw in some clever wordplay about cracks, her sloppy delivery hurt every joke she had. Edwards' attempt to call the competition trashy also felt obvious and a little undercooked for where she could have taken the idea.
But this is about you, Mother Ru.
Some smart puns and digs at Santino Rice came out half-baked as well, and showed potential for a great routine that was never refined.
You and Coco Montrese do share something in common, okay? And that's not only your foolish wardrobe, but being a runner-up. Don't get bitter, just get better.
While the editing definitely played into how bad Alyssa's set appeared, her lackluster writing was what earned her a spot in the bottom 2 that week.
This was the best bunch of people you could get to come judge. Can I get a gay man?
Number 12, Alexis Michelle and Farrah Moan, fail. Tasteless jokes got particularly out of hand during Michelle Visage's roast, but they only reflected poorly on the people saying them. Farrah Moan's detail-heavy read on Michelle's fame just stated facts maliciously and didn't have a true punchline.
I find it hilarious that Michelle Visage judges a talent competition. I don't know about you, but don't you actually have to have talent to do that?
After Farrah's tactless quip about sexual favors, however, it was satisfying to watch Visage grimace in contempt.
Alexis Michelle, on the other hand, insulted Fortune Feimster's career without any sort of comedic twist.
Fortune, you also know about playing second fiddle.
Visage was also the only one laughing at Alexis's predictable humor. Plus, the water sports gag was too obscure for the judge, let alone for viewers.
I have to congratulate you on really being able to take the piss. Just ask the UK men's water polo team.
Okay.
This all contributed to closing the roast on a sour note, and understandably landed Farrah and Alexis in the bottom two. Number 11, Utica Queen, fail. In one of the most spectacular roast fails in herstory, Season 13's kooky fashion icon, Utica Queen, experienced the gamut of the Drag Race stand-up comedy experience.
You know, Ross and Simone, I think you guys would make a great couple. Simone and Pumbaa.
She almost landed at least one joke, bombed so hard the next studio heard it, got dressed down by one of the judges, and the host even gave her the finger. It's kind of a wonder how bad she was, considering how incisive and brazen some of the jokes sounded on paper.
They should take Celebrity Big Brother and make it Celebrity Big Brother with benefits.
But they were too vulgar, too underwritten, and too bizarre to ever have a chance. Utica's best moments came courtesy of guest judge Lani Love and RuPaul, who both had the perfect response to her remarks about them.
It's just as hard to swallow as Lani Love's comedy career.
Number 10, Bosco, win. Opening a comedy show is no small thing. Bosco, however, had a lot of material to work with. Herself.
Before we get started, I do want to take a moment and talk about myself.
She managed to turn her weak points in the competition into great fodder for a string of one-liners about how often she's been told to go home. Because if you can't roast yourself, how are you gonna roast somebody else?
I have been told to go home more times than Michelle every time she visits the UK.
But Bosco's ingenuity didn't stop there. She got off several great digs at her fellow contestants before turning on the judges.
I'll show you versatility when Georges wins an acting challenge and passes a drug test.
Even her RuPaul is so old line manages to be one of the most unique versions of that joke ever told on that stage.
RuPaul, you are so old that when you say that you are verse, you mean you are both hunter and gatherer.
Number 9, Jessica Wilde, win. There's something so naturally funny about Jessica Wilde. When it came time to do the Carson Kressley roast, she didn't make the same mistake as many queens before her.
It's an honor for me to be here at this amazing Carson Kressley roast, because he already looked like a roasted chicken.
Rather than just relying on her natural charisma and hoping for the best, she brought an incredible and surprising set of jokes. Adding in clever turns of phrase and that iconic Jessica delivery that only she can nail just made the whole thing that much funnier.
Carson is a television host, actor, writer, producer, and this is the funniest one, a dancer.
Taking aim at Carson Kressley's charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and alleged talent, she consistently made the room erupt with laughter. Jessica's punchlines were so unexpected, mostly because no one is quite like her.
I never wash any of your stuff, but as soon as I get out of here, I'm still not washing it.
Number 8, Candy Muse, win. Candy Muse's set may not have had the polish, but that's what's so great about her.
No audience tonight. Michelle, don't that kind of remind you of your old concerts from back in the days, bitch? Just empty.
Her jokes were great, and even the ones that were a little shaky were saved by her commitment to the bit. Using her amazingly husky voice to drive her punchlines home, Candy was a natural on the stage.
I don't know what's worse, your fashion on season 12. No, baby, ain't nothing worse than that.
Guest judge Lani Love almost seemed apprehensive when the queen set her sights on her.
How does being an extra on Soul Plane land you this big-ass gig on RuPaul's Drag Race?
When they're laughing but also scared for their turn, that's when you know you're killing a roast. What really drove it home was Candy's gestures. That wild coffin pose she struck on her last joke was instantly memeable.
RuPaul's so old, I told her to act her own age, bitch. She died.
Number 7, Jinx Monsoon, win. Considering Jinx Monsoon finally came alive as one of Season 5's most gifted comedians, this RuPaul roast performance was almost like a victory lap. the queen scored right from the start, with a clever and crass pun.
It's gonna be hard to top Coco. But look at her, who would want to top Coco?
That energy was maintained throughout the entire set, as Jinx notably took aim at Michelle Visage and RuPaul in spectacular fashion.
Ru, what I admire most about you is your ability to look at these tired queens and always find a compliment for them. You're so full of the toilet's jealous.
Whip smart, confident, and concise, the routine was smart without sacrificing the vulgarity we've come to know and love. The star's comedic stylings haven't gotten any less impressive with time either. When Monsoon returned for the all-winners season, the zingers were still ultra hot.
I am so honored to be honored here tonight at this imaginary event.
Number 6, Alaska, win.
For the first ever Drag Race roast, Alaska set the tone by comically insulting Leslie Jordan and Michelle Visage at the same time. And her endless riffs on RuPaul's age were wacky enough to have Ru herself screeching.
Michelle Visage, you can take the girl out of New Jersey.
From disasters to some graphic medical issues and more, she brought laughably great material on a topic that's usually overdone.
In her critiques on RuPaul's career achievements, Alaska's snarky tone gave her comedy an edge many queens lacked.
RuPaul is so old that the Hindenburg disaster nearly destroyed her bat mitzvah.
This also allowed her to fire off particularly harsh words at Roxy Andrews while she was heading off the stage. This comfort to leave no stone unturned in her routine assured that Alaska never gave audiences a dull moment.
It is my great pleasure to bring to the stage our next entertainer, Roxy Andrews. And that's Roxy with 3 X's just like her dress size.
Number 5, Monet Exchange, win.
While prop comedy can be tacky at times, Monet Exchange's glasses proved a goofy and lighthearted tone for her Lady Bunny reads.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to celebrate the life, liberty, and illiteracy of our dear friend Lady Bunny.
Though mentioning Beyonce would seem like a compliment, Monet actually invoked Knowles Carter's name to riff on Lady Bunny's appearance.
She was often called the Beyonce of drag, not because she was rich and beautiful or famous, but because she looked like she was carrying twins.
Monet's ancient Bible references wittily ripped into Lady Bunny's age too. However, it was her detailed story about eating other queens that left everyone in stitches.
In the wrong hands, these quips could have crossed a line and come across as unnecessarily mean. Yet Monet struck a friendly yet zany tone throughout the roast that kept people laughing, and more than lived up to her reputation as a comedy queen.
You know, this reminds me of a story when we all went on tour. Bunny expressed that she wanted to eat a little Mexican. Poor little Valentina didn't stand a chance.
Number 4, Manila Luzon, win.
Dearly beloved, and Michelle Visage.
To capitalize on the funeral theme of Lady Bunny's roast, Manila Luzon made a dramatically gloomy entrance. Her excessive recoil upon smelling Bunny, however, was completely unexpected and hysterical. Manila touched on death too, just to comically read Lady Bunny for eating too much.
At least our poor Lady Bunny met her fateful demise doing something she loved, when she choked to death at a hot dog eating contest.
And just when her jokes got incredibly saucy, she threw in another twist about the dearly departed's appetite.
When the doctors performed the autopsy, they found that she was full of semen and the aircraft carrier that they served on.
It was all these creative subversions of funeral cliches that allowed Luzon to stand out, and nab a spot in the top 2 as well. By getting Lady Bunny laughing and simultaneously burning her fellow queens, Manila had a roast worthy of an all-star.
Lady Bunny wants you to know that finally you're the pretty one.
Number 3, Jimbo, win. This iconic queen decided that the only way to properly do insult comedy was in character as one of the most famous insult comics of all time.
Oh my God, I didn't realize I was coming back from the dead to go right to the zoo.
Reviving her winning Snatch Game impersonation from the first season of Canada's Drag Race, she was on fire from start to finish. Jimbo's Joan Rivers was as quick-witted and vicious as the late woman herself.
Now for the woman of the evening, Everybody, let's hear it for Ellen DeGeneres, everybody.
This kind of take-no-prisoners approach could have easily come off as awkward, but the strength of the jokes and Jimbo's characterization of Rivers were so spot on that it almost seemed as if the comic had been revived for one last gig.
Thank everybody so much. This has been the roast of the Crypt Keeper, everybody.
Number 2, Coco Montrese, Win. This lip-sync assassin strayed far from her comfort zone for the show's first ever roast, and it was a gamble that paid off big time.
So I'm flipping through the channel, I say, you see Ru on TV. I say, what the hell is he thinking?
Coco Montrese decided to perform in character as RuPaul's fictional cousin. She found humor in those people who try to bring you back down to earth because they knew you before you were big.
You know, at the beginning of the show, you come in the room, girl, hello, hello.
Nothing was off limits when it came to Ru either, with Coco taking aim at the host's appearance and pants.
Girl, you look like the Black Pee Wee Herman.
Needless to say, RuPaul was gasping for air. It was a real turning point for Coco in the competition, earning her first main challenge win of the season and a place among the best roasters in Drag Race herstory.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Peppermint, Win.
There was a loving quality to Peppermint's voice at Michelle Visage's roast, which just gave more punch to all the shade she dished out.
Ross, everyone says that your voice is annoying and high-pitched, but I actually love the sound of your voice right now. Don't talk.
Peppermint used this warm energy to praise Ross Matthews in the most backhanded way she could. She also questioned Michelle's outrageous negativity for a side-splitting deep cut on her book.
Michelle says no to everything. Michelle, you like my dress? No. You like my makeup? No. Bitch, where the hell were you when somebody asked you if you wanted to write that book?
Peppermint's research allowed her to deliver long-form jokes that actually stuck the landing, while also touching on subjects that her competitors missed. However, it was her genius Destiny's Child comparison that had everyone laughing the longest.
Michelle Visage, Michelle. Not since Destiny's Child has a Michelle become so famous for riding somebody else's coattails.
This fierce comedic talent and her great timing helped Peppermint win the roast challenge, and showed audiences she had the talent to go all the way.
Which of these roasts had you clutching your pearls? Once the shade clears, leave us a comment.
Oh, I just hope Lady Bunny's in a better place.
Trust me, she is. I've seen her apartment.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.